All right. So good evening, everyone. So let's start the today's lecture. I hope I'm audible. So let's get started. So, yeah, we'll continue from where we left yesterday. We'll start with loops. So let's start the today's unit. Okay. So for all those who didn't understand this code, I hope we'll understand today. So what this question basically asks is you need to sum all the natural numbers from 1 till n. Okay. So natural number basically starts from 1 and you need to sum all of them. So if it says say n is equal to 4, then what you basically need to do in the question is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Similarly, for any n, you need to calculate the sum. So this is what the question is. Okay. So we'll start off. So we'll declare the scanner as usual. And now we have the scanner declared. Okay. So now we will declare the n and take n as input. From the user. Now when we take n as input, now we'll initialize the sum. That is what we are declaring. So we'll initialize it by 0. We had a discussion over it yesterday as well. Like if you don't initialize sum by 0, then it will, the Java compiler will assign a random value, which is not good. So you must initialize the sum by 0, since initially if n is a 0 or something like that, then the sum is going to be 0. So now we run a for loop. So we start from 1, we go till n, and we do I plus plus, then sum is equals to sum plus I. This is what we are ideally doing, and then we print it out at the end. And we are good to go. Let's put the first test case satisfy and run the code. Now, any doubts in this code, guys? I plus plus. So this is the way you want to change this variable that you have declared. Like this is the terminating condition for the loop. So after initializing whatever you are doing here, if you, even if you leave this empty, we don't have an issue. I have declared something here. So this is the condition that will be checked every time the loop gets executed, and after execution of every line, we are executing the statement. So I plus plus ideally means I plus plus is equivalent to I is equals to I plus 1. Yes, we will have a random value. This I plus plus means this. So I can ideally make this also as sum plus equals I. When you do a plus equals or I plus plus, that is I plus 1, sum plus equals is equivalent to sum is equals to sum plus I. And this is applicable to all the board mass operations. For loop, this is the initialization. So we initialize I by 1, then it will check whether it is less than n or not. If it is less than n, then the statement is executed. After executing the statements, I plus plus is executed. So the third statement gets executed after the end of for loop each time. So when it gets executed, it checks the condition again, whether I is still less than n. If it is still less than n, then it will execute again. That is what this for loop means. So code is simple. We are just iterating from I equals 1 till I less than equal to n, and for each of the I values we are adding it into the sum. So these are the equivalent statements that you can write just to shorten your code and speed up the coding part. Sum plus equals I is equal to sum equals sum plus I plus plus is equal to I equals I plus 1. If I write here I equals I plus 1, then also there is no change in the code. This will work exactly the same. Yeah, I have written in the comment part exactly the same statement. You can execute either of them. The loop will work exactly same. There's no such change. First two lines, these are libraries. I'm repeating it again. Don't ask me these questions again, guys. I've repeated from the day one. You can't understand these certain things right now. So leave them as it is. Just, learn them up, and you need to follow these things. That is the only way to understand. Int and long difference is basically the range difference. So what the range I mean, so int is basically from minus 2 to the power 31 till 2 to the power 30. Long is just double, minus 2 to the power 63 to 2 to the power 63. So depending on what your values will be, you need to decide what you need to use in these functions. Yeah, this is the first question only, Sudhanshu. Line 7. We have been there, guys. Like, if this is your first class, please go through the lectures again. Scanner is basically the way to take the input from the user in Java. That is what the scanner means. Is my voice clear to everyone? Yeah. Sum is equals to 0 because initially at start we don't know, the sum will start from 0 only, right? That is quite a logical thing, because you cannot start sum from minus 1, because initially sum is 0. We start adding numbers to it. So what initially you consider is 0 only. Yeah, you can initialize I by 0, but initializing I by 0 won't make sense. Sum is equal to sum plus 0 is nothing. And we have initialized I equals 1 for the reason being natural number starts from 1, and we are actually summing up the natural numbers from 1 till n. Yeah, you can use any other alphabet. I can use ij, any variable declaration you can use. That same variable you will have to use inside. Like I is a very generic practice that we use. I, j, k, these are the general variables that we use. Prashant, you have not provided the input, enough inputs. Provide the input first and then run the code. It will work. I've seen the same error. Prashant, don't copy paste again and again. No, you cannot take sum equals 1. Quite logical thing. Like if you start from sum equals 1, then you are initializing an initial variable by 0. Like when you sum two variables in a different variable, C equals A plus B. So do you initialize C by 1? No. You initialize C by 0 only, that C is equals to C plus A plus B. So that only A and B are added. The one value should not be added. Prashant, you are not providing the input in the question. Before running the test case, please provide the input, then the error won't come. No, you cannot declare in sum like this. I'm repeating it again and again. Listen to this carefully. Don't ask the same questions again and again. Sum is, if sum is not initialized, then you will get an exception error. When you get an exception error, I mean, you will the Java compiler will assign random value. So your output won't come out correct because you are adding to the already initialized variable. Sum is equal to sum plus I. So you are using you are using the value that is already there to the sum and adding to those values. Okay. Some basic math is important, like addition, subtraction is all basic things that you need to like. Not only it is important for coding, but it is important for anything you do. uh Please, if you are having specific questions, don't ask here, ask in the doubt sessions. Those are the guys that will be able to help you out. If the question is there in the modules, we'll take it up and discuss it out, but specific questions won't be entered in here because it's a general class, so we need to take care of everyone. because same program runs fine in Eclipse, because after running the program in Eclipse, what you do is you provide the input. But in the online platforms, what you need to do is you need to provide input beforehand it, and then you need to run the test case. Then only the output will come. Otherwise, it will throw an error because it is not able to find the input. Yeah, you can directly take the formula n into n plus 1 by 2. That is a mathematical thing. If you know it, it is well and good. Otherwise, you can do it simply by this way. The long is not required here. We are passing all the test case. That means we are in the limit only. Even if I use long, then also it won't be an issue. See, if I use long, then also it won't be an issue. If you write I equals 0 in the loop like this, it is up to you. We can initialize I by 0, because think logically, when you add 0 to anything, does the output change? No. So even if you initialize it by 0, it is the same. But the logical way of explaining your program will be to initialize by I equals 1, because you are summing from all the numbers from 1 till n. That is the case. Solving this question by that is pretty simple. I just have to change the statement. And yeah, we are good to go. Let's do a 4 and run the plot. Any other doubts now? Apart from initialization of sum, please. Yeah, we know it has some bugs. We are working on it. Don't worry. They'll be resolved within some time. No, this can be solved by ternary operator. This is not possible. Ternary operator is basically a alternate to if else. It is not alternate to a for loop. What you can't understand, you need to elaborate on that. In general, not understanding is not an excuse. See, the 4 is working well for 10, because n into n plus 1 by 2 will give you directly. That is not possible because many people don't understand Hindi at all. So that's why I have to go with English only at present. I'll try to use Hindi sometimes, but yeah, don't make it a habit, because in any way in future in the interviews you will have to use English only. At times they might permit Hindi, but it is a very healthy practice to use English. So when you start learning from start, it won't be that difficult, because learning coding is one thing, learning a language is a different thing. It is a slow process, so you need to work on it continuously. Any other doubts in this question, or shall I move forward? You don't have to refer any book. It's in the era of internet, guys. Just Google anything, whatever you want practice on, or whatever you want to have, you know, the notes on. You will get everywhere. There's GFG, there's Tutor Point, there's Java Point, there's endless sites out there. Just Google what you want, you will get it. 10, because it is 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. That is what because the input is 4, so 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 will be done, and 1 plus 2 plus 3 4, 4 plus 3 7, 7 plus 2 9, 9 plus 1 10. That's by 10. Okay, so oh yeah, we have to take everyone out, so we'll go a little slow only. Okay, let me take this up a little later. First, Armstrong number finder. Because there are, see, understand this thing, for each code there will be 10 to 15 ways to solve. As you go deeper in the course, each code will have, I can bet on it, you will have at least 10 to 15 ways to solve each of the codes. You just need to understand which one is good for you and which one you are able to make out. That is the best to understand, because like n into n plus 1 by 2 is a direct shortcut formula. Sum is equal to sum plus I is a standard way to do it. Like that is what is generally taught when you do a for loop thing. So that is the formula that you use continuously. Okay. So let's get on to the next problem. Just give me a second. All right. So Armstrong number. Given a number n, you need to check whether the given number is Armstrong number or not. Okay. So now what is Armstrong number? Let us see below. A number is said to be Armstrong if it is equal to sum of cube of its digit. So what we need to ideally do in this problem is, first we need to find the digits of all the number that are there, and we need to cube the digits of the number and add it to a particular number. And if the cube of digits of the number is sum of cube of digits of the number is equal to the current number, then it means it is an Armstrong number. So you need to print 1 if it is Armstrong number, print 0 if it is not Armstrong number. So let's start the code. No, 153 is the example of Armstrong number. 111 is not example. 1 plus 1 plus 1, 1 cube plus 1 cube plus 1 cube is basically 3. That is not the correct one. So let's now let's take integer n. Now what you need to do? So we need to find the sum of the cube of digits. So how will we find? Int copy equals n, because we need the n at the end for comparison, while n is greater than 0. So what we will ideally be doing is we will be getting the ones place value of each time. Say the number is 1, 2, 3. So what we ideally need is each time is we need 1, 2, and 3 independently as digits. We don't want their place value, that is 1000, 101. So we ideally need, what we need is the digits. So how can we get the digit? So when you get a remainder of a number by 10, what you ideally get is the like the last digit of the number. So we'll get the remainder by 10 and then divide the number by 10, because when you divide the number by 10, you ideally lose the last digit. When you modulo the number by 10, you get the last digit. So these are the two operations that we'll be using continuously till our number becomes 0. Okay. No, this cannot be solved by if else if, because there are endless Armstrong numbers. There is not an end to it because there are infinite Armstrong numbers. So you need to solve them by some other method only. So int digit is equals to n percentage 10. So what this statement is ideally doing is this finding you the last digit of the number that is left out. Now, when you have the digit, you basically do is you divide it by 10 so that you lose the last digit. So when you divide 123 by 10, what it ideally becomes is 12. So this is the case. Now you have got the digit. So you sum it up. Sum is equals to sum plus digit into digit into digit. Okay. And we are done. Now at the end, what we will be ideally comparing is sum equals copy, because we have lost n, so we have maintained a copy. Then we just print out 1, else print out 0. Okay. What we are ideally doing in this question is we are getting the last digit and then getting rid of the last digit. So I'll just dry run for you guys. So let's take example of 1, 2, 3. Okay. So when n is equals to 1, 2, 3, okay, it enters the loop. The digit that n percentage 10 will give is 3. Okay. Now when you divide n by n is equals to n divided by 10, then ideally what becomes is n is equals to 12 now. Because n when divided by 10, n was initially 123. So when we divide it by 10, it becomes 12. Now sum is equals to sum plus digit into digit into digit. That is 3 into 3 into 3. That will be 27. So the sum becomes equal to 27. So after this point, it comes back to while loop. N is what now? 12. Is it equal to 0? No, it is not equal to 0. So we do a percentage sign again. What we get the digit as 2. Okay. We divide it by 10 again. The n remaining is going to be 1, because 12 divided by 10 is 1 according to the Java compiler division. Okay. Yeah, it is up to you. Any variable you can take. It's all your call. There's no issue with the question. Okay. So 1 is there. The digit that we found out was 2. So 27 plus 2 into 2 into 2, that is 8. That is going to be 35. Okay. So we got at the end 1. 1 is not equal to 0. It will execute again. 1 percentage 10 is 1 only. 1 divided by 10 becomes 0. 1 into 1 into 1, this becomes 36. Now when we go, n is equal to 0. 0 is not equal to 0. That is not correct because it is equal. So while loop will exit. Sum is what now? 36. Our original n was 123. Is sum equal to copy? No, it is not equal. So it will print 0. No, you cannot use for here, because you don't know how many times while loop will get executed. For loop is used when you are for sure for the terminating condition. While loop is used when you're not sure of the number of steps that are required to terminate the condition. So these are the two use cases. That's why depending on the case, you use for loop or while loop. Yeah, you can use n greater than 0. It's one of the same thing. It is just, to handle n if n like turns out to be less than 0 at start itself, then what you will do? In that case, you need to handle the cases. So the difference of for loop and while loop is, for loop is, these many iterations it will take. Here you are not sure. So what you can do is you can write the for loop, that is okay. All right. So I can show you how to write the for loop itself. But what you will do ideally get is confused here, because we won't be initializing n here actually. Int I is equals to n. I not equal to 0, comma, I is equals to I divided by 10. And we'll do the same thing again. Int digit is equals to n percentage 10. Sorry, I percentage 10, because that is the variable that we have initialized now. Then sum is equals to sum. This is the same statement that we'll use. And that's it. This is the for loop. This is a little confusing for loop, because you need to, divide it by 10 and some stuff like that. That's why it is not preferred. But yeah, it is up to you. You can use any. In this case, you don't need to, create the copy, because you will have the original n. So instead of copy, you can compare it by n. 10 is used because 10 is the ideal number to get the last digit, and to get rid of the last digit. If you divide it by 9, there might be a case that it becomes a multiple. So that is why 10 is used. 10 is ideally used to get rid of the ones place, And when you divide by 10, you ideally get rid of the ones place and you modulate by 10, you just get the ones place number. That is why 10 is used. All right. Any other doubts in this problem now? Personal doubts won't be entertained here, Zaid. I'm repeating it again. You have a doubtless from 4 to 7 and 11 to 12 a.m. Go join there. Mentors are there. They'll be more than happy to help you out. Yeah, you can do that as well, Prashant. These are little advanced things. So I don't prefer writing these statements directly right now. What part of logic you didn't understand? I have repeated logic twice now, guys. Please be a little specific because I need to cover more questions now. Write a specific line number, like which exact line number you didn't understand. No, there's no other way to solve because you need to find the digits each. So either, convert it into string and then traverse each character and then get the value. Okay. Otherwise, there's only one. 10 ऐसे आया guys, you need to get the ones value. ओके सो वंस वैल्यू के लिए आप हमेशा क्या करोगे, आप परसेंटेज 10 करोगे बिकॉज उसका लॉग बेस में 10 वैल्यू आता है. दैट इज व्हाई. ओके कॉपी पार्ट इज बेसिकली बिकॉज यहाँ पे मैं n मॉडिफाई कर रहा हूँ एंड आई नीड टू कंपेयर इट विद n एट द लास्ट. दैट इज व्हाई आई हैव इनिशियलाइज्ड अ कॉपी. ओके एज इन आई डिडंट गेट यू. व्हाट डू यू वांट an example? मतलब what exactly are you expecting? Just a second, Shivaji. I need to entertain all the doubts. I won't be coming to these questions again. How line 24 works? So 24 basically means sum, the current value of sum plus the cube of digit. Digit into digit into digit. That is digit cube in math. That is what it means. So it is the digit cube is added to the current value of sum. There are plenty of problems. You just need to Google it. I cannot solve all the problems for you guys. You need to understand the logic. See, I can solve 10, 15 problems right now, but till the time you don't solve it on your own, go understand and work out logic on your own, you won't be able to get them directly. The logic for for loop is also same. We start by initializing I is equal to n. Okay, so that means we have initialized the copy variable. Instead of using n directly, we are using I here. Okay, we get the digit as I is equals to I percentage 10. Now we have got the last digit of the number like we got here as in 321. We add it to the sum, and after adding to the sum, we lose the last digit of the number. That is like we are using the copy. So I is equals to I divided by 10. And then we again check if I is not equal to 0. Yeah, you can use power function. Right now it's not taught in the class. That's why I'm not using it. I hope this is clear now. See, it's not about experience. I am telling you right now itself, till the time you go on your laptop, log in, start solving, understand the question, understand the code, refer the solution once, refer the solution twice. But when you try to mug up the solutions ki nahi main is tarah ke 10 problem kar lunga and I'll be good to go, that is not possible in coding. When you solve 10 problems of same type, I can just modify one thing and give you 11th problem and you won't be able to solve it. Okay. So you need to understand the logic and write the code on your own without looking at my code. Then only you'll be able to understand what you are writing. See, it is not compulsory. I'm not sure, but there's a certain percentage of assignments that you need to solve before attempting this. Otherwise, you're not permitted to attempt the test. But it is a very healthy practice to attempt the test because solve all the assignments, because Anything of those assignments can be asked in the interview. I'm not guaranteeing you that you will be only asked a if else question or a for loop question or an array question. It all depends on your interview. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Basically, the copying code is not the thing. So there's no logic behind these questions. Start with a basic question. Sum of natural numbers till n. Those are very basic questions. You need to solve them on your own. First, you need to learn the syntax that you are writing. Why are you writing that syntax? What is the reason behind you write that syntax? What is the line that you're writing? When you start asking those questions and you get the answer to those questions, you'll be able to code through these questions as well. Because there's no way you cannot code. It's just that there's an extra need of practice at the start. When you put that extra effort, you will be good to go. GFG, lead code, hacker rank, I can go on and on. You just need to Google what topic you want. Okay, so let's start. Next problem. Palindrome. Okay. Given a number n, you need to check whether number given is palindrome or not. So what is a palindrome number? Okay. When you palindrome number is when you read the number from start or from end, the number is exactly same. Example is 11211. So even if you read it from start, that is 1121, 11211. If you read it from the end, then also it is going to be same. So from wherever you read, either from start or end, if the number is going to be equal, then it is a palindrome number. Okay. So let's start coding for this. So we will here again be using the digits concept again. So but we will have some modifications how we'll use those digits, because here we need to convert it into a number. We don't need the sum of digits. We need to convert it into a number. Yeah, that you can do. See, this is Neeraj, this is not possible because I write the same code here, I write the same code on an online compiler. Both the codes work perfectly fine. So there's some mistake that you're making, either not importing libraries or you're not providing the input while before running. These are the common mistakes that you guys do. That's why I'm telling you these mistakes might be there. So please check. Yeah, converting it into string is one thing, but if you haven't taught strings, so we won't be using the strings. So we'll take the integer n is equals to sc dot next int. Again, we'll make a copy because we have to use the original number to compare. Okay, so let's make the reverse number. That is initialized by 0 initially because we don't know what is the number is going to be. Okay. So while n is greater than 0 or n is not equal to 0, int digit, we get the last digit, that is going to be n percentage 10. Now we divide it by 10 to lose the last digit. Till now, we have done nothing else, same as Armstrong number here. Okay. Now, when we are done with this, what we ideally need to do, let's take from a small example, 1, 2, 3. So by reversing the number, I want it as 3, 2, 1. So when I got the first digit, so ideally my number is 0. So what ideally my number should be right now is 3. But when I get the second digit, 2. So I should not, just simply add 3 plus 2. That will be 5. That is not correct. But I want is 32. So what I ideally want is I want to move 3 from one place to 10th place. One's place means there's 0. 10th place means 10. So that means we need to multiply the current number by 10 so that place value of each of the digits is increased by 10. That is what we are doing in this problem. So when we do that, so what we will be doing basically is reverse is equals to reverse into 10. We have shifted the place value by 10. So don't worry for 0. like if the number, if the reverse was initialized by 3, assume that it is initialized by 3 right now. Okay, if it is initialized by 3, then when you add, like when you want to add 2 to it, so basically what are you doing is 3 is equals to 3 into 3, you won't make it 32 instead of 5. So what you need to do is 3 into 10 plus 2. That is the standard way of doing it, because you want to move the move 3 from 1's place to 10's place. That is why. So yeah, I'm adding that digit here, and that's it. There's nothing else you need to do. Same, if reverse equals copy system dot out dot print true, we need to print the string here. The brackets aren't wrong. Why? Where is it wrong? It's perfectly fine. These while brackets are balanced. If bracket is balanced. Yes. Let's run the code 1 to 1. Run, submit. Where is the bracket wrong? Yeah. I did a single inverted comma. That was the issue. Yeah, you can use while n greater than 0 again here, but there were not edge cases provided here. In case they provide you negative numbers, then you cannot use while n greater than 0. All right. So any doubts in this question now? Pretty similar to. Okay, I'll explain it to you. So what we ideally need to do is before adding any digit, because what we are doing is we are traversing the number reverse only. So we just need to traverse the number and shift the digits in this correct manner. So by shifting, what I mean is when you have one digit, now you are adding another digit. So that means if you don't multiply it by some number, then what it will happen ideally is 3 plus 2 will get combined. So 3 plus 2 is going to simplify, but we want 3 plus 2 to be actually 32. So we are basically adding the strings right now. So for adding the strings, what we ideally need to do is, move the place value by 10, because initially 3 was at one's place. After this operation, 3 is at 10th place. So to move it at 10th place, we can do 3 into 10. See, for loop doesn't make more sense here. For while loop makes more sense, because we have a counted number of operations. We can write the for loop again in a similar manner like Armstrong number itself. It's up to you. There's no issues. $93 dot. What does that mean, Tanya? Anything else, guys, apart from this in this question? Armstrong number is exactly same. Just instead of into 10, we just have reverse is equals to reverse plus digit into digit into digit. There's no change. 16, basically getting the last digit of the number. 18, You are increasing the place value of each of the digits that are already there in the reverse number by 10. So what if the last digit is 0? Then it is correct thing. Like, that's a good question. So if the last digit is 0, then ideally what this number becomes? 1, right? So it should be false. It is false only because the number will become 1 only. 0 doesn't make any sense. Like, you read it as 0, 1 or you read it as 1. The value doesn't change, right? So that is why 0, 1 and 1 are both equal only. So you need to avoid 0. So 0 to 0 to 0, that is correct. But 0 to 0 to 0 is equivalent to 2020, right? There's no difference in that. Understand, when you add something to 0, it adds up to that digit. Does, like, it's not like we are combining the strings. This is a very important thing because when you solve it by, some people were saying that we can solve it by strings, then you need to remove the zeros that are ahead. Otherwise, your program won't be correct. Reverse is basically the reverse number. So when you read this same number by reverse, what will the number look like? So 1 to 3 will look like 3 to 1. If the number is 1 to 1, then it will look exactly same. That is going to be 1 to 1 only. You cannot write the same logic in string. You will have to remove the leading zeros. The logic that someone pointed out, that 0 to 0 to 0. So you need to remove those leading zeros. That's why it is a very good pointer out. Why not to use string? Because if you're using string, you will have to do that extra part of removing all the leading zeros, the zeros that are there before the number. Line 17, we are just getting rid of the last digit, like we did in the Armstrong number. Okay, why are class recordings not available? Intro to programming is there. Conditionals is there. Loops is there. I can see all the recordings, guys. What is this? You want to see the Armstrong code? You can see that. Armstrong. Exact same thing, just the change in the statement. That's it. Okay. All right. So I'll move ahead. Let's try and cover the last question. I think it will be difficult, but yeah. All right. Whew. You need to write a program to print the staircase of size n. Okay. So what you ideally need to do is you need to print a triangle, right? Angle triangle of base and height of equal to n. Okay. So let's start by compare. So what ideally is common in this? When n is equals to 4, we won't write any code here first. We'll just understand what we need to do in this question. Once you understand, it is going to be a clear cut problem. So one in the line 1, so there are going to be four lines, right? Like this one, we have 4 lines in total. So in the first line, how many number of spaces and how many number of hashes are there? Okay. Let's do some more commenting. Perhaps line 1. Line 1 has 3 spaces and 1 hash. Okay. Line 2 has 2 spaces and 2 hash. Line 3 has 1 space and 3 hashes. Line 4 has 0 spaces and 4 hashes. Okay, I hope this is clear now. All right, so this is just the literal part of what we are ideally printing in case of n equals 4. What we need to understand is when we add these all up, they turn out to be a common number that is equal to 4. Add any of the statements, because either space or hash, both of them, a space is a character, a hash is a character, and both the in total number of characters in each line is fixed, that is n. Okay, so we'll be using that. Okay, other thing we need to do is, from line 1 we start with 1 hash and we go till n hashes, and we increment the hashes by 1 in each line. Okay, so when you increment the hashes by 1 in each line, what you're ideally doing is you're reducing the spaces. Why? Because we know that total number of characters is going to be fixed, that are n. So what we are doing is, if we are incrementing the hash, we have to reduce something. That is, the other option is spaces. So that is why when we increment hash, we are decrementing spaces. And the increment and decrement are in similar fashion. When you increment by 1, so the hashes will decrement by 1. And so that the total remains 4 always. Okay. So let's start writing the code for this. See, add in it is just like a logic, like what exactly is happening. We have 3 spaces and we have 1 hashes. So total number of characters, how many characters are there in that line? That is 4, because 3 spaces and 1 hash, that is equal to 4. Similarly, 2 spaces and 2 hashes, that is equal to 4. And we go on. Okay, now we have the input. So what we know is hashes is equal to 1 in the first line. And we have another variable called spaces. Spaces is equal to n minus 1, because these two should sum to n always. That is the main logic. Okay, so when we know that in the first line hashes is going to be 1, then we know for sure that the spaces will be n minus 1 only, because we have watched that in each line the number of characters should be n. So these two should sum to n. That is why spaces are n minus 1. So if you add the hash, then you need to subtract the spaces. Otherwise, the total would not be same, right? Because if just keep the spaces as 3 only, then this becomes 5, which violates, because hash will not come in this order. That's why I've just written it exactly like it is shown in the figure. So let's use the for loop here, and we'll declare this variable inside, because we will be using, no, not needed actually. The number of lines are fixed, that is equal to n. That is for sure, because the height is going to be n, we know from the question. So we will be printing n lines. Now in each line, we know first we need to print spaces before hashes. For int I, for int, now we have used I, so we should use j. Just do a system dot out dot print. Use print only here, because you are concatenating things. If you use println, every space will be printed in a new line. No, the sum won't be 6. If the space is same, that is at the start, that will be 5 spaces. That means 5 spaces and 6 hashes. So space, understand, space is a character here. Space is also a character. It is not like, you give a space, that doesn't mean it does not count as a character. It counts as a character in coding language. So I'm talking about total of sums, or sum of spaces and hashes in this case. Okay. Just copy this up. And at the end of this, you will have to do a system.out.println, so that the next line gets printed in a new line. It won't be same. How will it be same, Praveen? Explain it to me. If the space is going to be 0, then only the sum will be 6. If the same space is going to be same, that is at initial, that is going to be 5. Then 5 plus 6 adds up to 11. That is the case. Now let's run an input test case. Let's run the code. 2j is being used because we have two different loops. So either you initialize int by outside and reinitialize the variable. That is one way to do it. Oh yeah, that is correct. We missed that. Spaces is equals to spaces minus 1, not plus 1. Hashes is equals to hashes plus 1. Okay. Yeah, complexity is going to be n square here. All right, I'll try run the program for n equals to 4. Okay. So we are at n equals 4. That means hashes is 1 and the spaces are, or you want me to do it for n equals 5? Let's do it for n equals 5. Okay. So hashes is going to be 1 and the spaces at start is going to be 4. Okay. So when we go here, so basically what happens is j equals 0, j less than spaces. That means j less than 4. Spaces are initially 4. So we'll print 4 spaces in the first line. Okay, I'll type the output screen here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. 4 spaces are printed. We go in this loop for n j equals 0, j less than hashes. There's one hash, j less than 1. It will execute once. It will print a hash. Okay. Now j becomes 1. 1 is no more less than 1. So we go to the next line because we have a print out statement. Now spaces becomes what? Spaces becomes 3. Hashes becomes 2. Now again 1, 2, 3 spaces and 2 hashes. Okay. Now we again after end this program, this becomes 2 and this becomes 3. So what we do is 1, 2 space, 3 hash. Same method. For loops are executed in same manner. Yeah, you can write that for spaces as spaces minus minus and hashes plus plus. That is also a good way to do it. 2, 3, 4. So that means one space, 1, 2, 3, 4 hashes. At the end, spaces become 0. 0 is no more less than 0. This for loop won't execute at all. This will execute from j equals 0 till j less than 5. So this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. No, we cannot use code of star pattern here directly because in that we had fixed number of stars that were 5 horizontal, 5 vertical. In this, the n is variable. So we need to use the for loops. You can do that, but that will make the code a little bit more complex and the complexity won't be improved at all because you're traversing the loop same number of times. The loop is getting iterated same number of times. So the complexity won't change. Like keeping the code simple is a better way because when you make the code complex, identifying the mistake is a different story. You guys need to understand that. Yeah. Single inverted commas work here because there's only a single character. What part do you want me to explain? I won't be explaining the whole code again. I've dry run it. I've explained twice. Time is also running out, so please point out to the line number that you want to understand. The core logic lies here. The hashes are going to be incremented by one in each line, and the total number of spaces and total number of hashes sum up to n always. That is the whole and soul of this code. No, you won't be able to reduce time complexity to of n. That is not possible because n square items need to be printed, so you have to do it. There's no way. Line number 26 is a for loop. So what we are ideally doing is we need to print 4 spaces. So we start from 0 and we go on till j less than 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3. That means 0, 1, 2, 3. 4 times we have executed. 4 times spaces will be printed. Similar to that, we have hashes and we are decrementing the spaces by 1 each time and incrementing the hashes as seen in the figure. Like spaces decrement and hashes increment. 37, 30, we don't have anything, guys. Complexity, please leave it. Those who know, it's okay. It's well and good. Those who don't know, no worries. Whatever we will teach you, we will be asking only that, and we'll teach you everything in the main batch. Teaching everything here is not possible, guys. Understand these things. First, you need to understand basis of for loop. You need to understand array. Then you will be able to understand time complexity, space complexity. So wait for a little. Just go step by step. Otherwise, if I give everything to you in one day, all things will get mixed up and you won't be able to understand anything. Yeah, you can replace any alphabet. There's no issue. And I told you, these are just variable declarations that I use. You can use spaces instead of spaces. You can use s, hashes, h, I, ij, j, jk, anything you can use. Just use those variables diligently and correctly in each part of the code, wherever you are reusing those variables after declaration. Okay. So I hope I'm clear and time is also up. So I'll hand it over to do that and see you guys tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, good evening, guys. I think we can start with our class, right? Yeah, good evening, good evening. So, can you guys tell me what are the questions that are discussed in the doubt session? Yeah, staircase and palindrome. Okay, so I wanted to do that in the class. Okay, no, never mind. Armstrong is also done. Okay, okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, if at all you guys want palindrome. Okay, someone's asking me to explain palindrome, right? So I'll do that. Cool, no worries. Yeah, no worries, no worries. We'll do that again. Okay. Staircase. Okay. Loops. Yeah, the basic syntax of all the loops are covered, right? I was planning to do few questions. If at all the questions are done, then I'll do uh, I'll do the arrays. We can skip to the arrays. Okay. Yeah, definitely. So I'll just take a poll. How many of you want Armstrong or how many of you? want staircase. Yeah, sure we'll do that. Okay, cool. So let me do that. Okay. Yeah, let me share my screen. Just a second. Yeah, I can see that a few students don't want the class to be discussed the same thing again. Um, let's see what can we do. So I'll quickly revise the things, and because many people, like, let me take a poll. How many of you want me to explain the palindrome question? Guys, just raise your hands. Palindrome. If it is more than 50, then I can take up 40. It is reaching 50. 52. Bapre, I can see some chat. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, what I just put your hands down. What about iterations? I mean, sorry. What about Armstrong number? Raise your hands for Armstrong number. Put your hand down for palindrome. Just raise your hands for Armstrong number. Sure, guys. So we'll do a few questions on loops, and then we can move ahead with the arrays part as well, right? चलो देखते हैं, ठीक है, whatever. So guys, let me continue with the class, ठीक है? So I think you just had your doubt session as well, right? Okay, cool. I'll just try to do as many problems as possible. It'll just a good revision. Or else, if you want me to do any other problem, like any problem which you are having doubt apart from these values, or else I'll give a few questions on my own. Yeah. So guys, so let me just quickly revise whatever we learned yesterday, right? So we learned what are loops, right? So we've seen that the same thing again and again, it will cause the redundancy, right? So there is something called loops that are invented so that you can place a particular piece of code inside these brackets, and you can make it repeat again and again for the specified number of times, right? So it is saving us from a lot of effort. This is what I've explained on that day, right? Cool. So and then I've explained there are three types of loops, right? One is while loop, other one is do while, and the other one is for loop, right? So as I said, there are three parts of any loop, right? Three parts of the loop. First part is the initialization, the iterator initialization, right? And then the condition, right? The condition that will say key that we will be checking just to know key if the code need to be run again. Every time you will be checking this, and if the condition will be given true, then the code will be running, right? And then comes the update statement, right? So this update statement is the thing that will make our condition finite, okay? So or else at every point it will be infinite, like infinitely true. So I don't want that. So it is a thing that will make our loop finite, right? So after this, right, condition is initialization is done. So this is the syntax of while loop. You'll be having while, you'll be putting a bracket condition and this one, right? Whatever the task is written. Same way, this is how you initialize. This is how the condition is put. And here you can check for the initialization. And like for 5 steps, 5 times this will be true, and 6 times it will be false. And that's the reason why 5 times it will be running, right? So ये चीज समझा दिया, ठीक है? I showed कि initialization कैसा होगा, how the condition is checked, and then the task is run. Again, the condition will be going to check, okay? In that way, it is true, false in that way, right? Okay. So let me tell you about this one, okay? So just read this question, read the statement. If statement, what is the difference between if and while, right? In if, only once the condition will be checked and then it will be running. But every in while loop, it will be checking till it is true, like till it is false, right? Every time it is true, it will be running, right? And it is false. And then comes do while, where we have do, right? And inside do, you'll have the task, right? And then comes while with a condition, and with a semicolon at the end, right? With a semicolon at the end. Okay. So the specialty about do while loop is that once the task will be executed, like, irrespective of the condition. Okay. So first, without checking, like first the task will be executed, then the condition is checked. If the condition is true, then again the task will be executed. It's like ki first time the task is executed without a condition. Bas, aisa samajh lo. Okay. Got it, guys? Any doubts in this? So the difference between while loop and for loop, I'm telling again and again, it's just the syntax. Okay. The difference is only in the syntax. Okay. So why only one test case fail? One test case fails because whatever input is there in that test case, that is for that input, it is failing. That's the reason why your test case is failing. Okay. So try to think about a corner case. Okay. So after this, let me tell you about for loop. For loop, you have for loop. This is the syntax. You have this semicolons in between, and you'll put an initialization statement, and then the condition, and then the update statement. Okay. So that is the difference between for loop and while loop. Here the initialization will happen, and then condition will be checked. If the condition is true, the task will run. Okay. If the task is run, right, the update statement will go, and after update statement, again that condition will be checked. So this is how it is done. Okay. So just remember this. Only initialization statement will only be run once, and then condition checking, true task update check, true task update check. In that way, it will be happening. If the condition is false, it will go out. Okay. So that's it about for loop, right? For loop mein, what is there? You can skip any of the statements. It's fine, but you just need to have confidence ki some other place the same thing is happening. It's not that you are skipping it, right? You're just doing it, but in a different case. Okay. Update करके print करेगा, first print and then update, first print and then update, bro. The task will be executed and then the update statement will work and then the condition will be checked. Okay. Just make that in your mind. That's for 100 times. Okay. तो भाई questions ऐसे ही होंगे. ठीक है. Break, and there are special statements called break and continue. Okay. So break, this thing will just break out of the loop once it is encountered. Okay. So I can write something like while I'll just make it true every time. Okay, I just made it true, the boolean value, and I'll just mark something like if I is greater than 10, just break. So let me initialize the value with I equals to 1. Okay, and I plus plus I'm doing every time. Okay, with SOP something. Hello. And this is a simple code which I've written. Okay, and once every time it is incremented, initially it is 1. It is incremented every time it is incremented. Every time this statement fails, it will be skipped up. But once the statement is true, that is I is greater than 10, in that case, you will just break out of the loop, right? And that's how break is. And continue is a statement that will just skip. Like, for example, if I write something like if I equals to 5, continue. It means that it will basically skip all the part. Okay, skip all this. And it will just go again, start from the beginning for this particular iteration. Okay, and that's it for the yesterday's class. These are the only things. Okay, just a second, let me decrease my AC to 4K. Cool. So let me continue, guys. Surgeon, just I would suggest you to watch the recordings, right? And then you can watch this. Yeah, can you show continue statement in your code? Yeah, see, this is the continue statement, right? So for example, let me write the same code again. While I is less than or equal to 10, okay, and if I equals 5, continue. And I'm doing something like I'll just print the value, okay, and let me do I plus plus, okay, and you can see let me initialize the value with 1 equals to 1. In this in this um, in this particular piece of code, the 5, whenever the value of iterator value is 5, you will just continue from it, okay. You'll just say ki nahi, just skip printing and just return again here, okay. So obviously that will cause an error because it has not been updated again and again, right? So I need to make sure that updation is happening, so let me put it here, okay. Let me put update statement here, so that the next time it comes here, I ka value will be updated. Always 5 hi rahega hamesha, you know, always the value of I will be 5, right? Again it will be continuing and it will be skip and it will be in an infinite loop. That's the thing you need to recognize, okay. Is that cool? When we have to use while, and if array bro, when you want to do things again and again, you'll be using while. If you want to do the thing only once, you'll be use if. Bas simple. Correct? Okay, cool. So if at all these are done, okay, so let me think about a question, okay. So how about this question, bro? How about a question where you'll be given a number, okay. The question is, find the sum of digits of a number. Yeah, we can execute the program without using continuous statement. That's good. It is possible. Okay. So find the sum of the digits of a number. Okay. If at all some number is given like 371. Okay. So you need to return, like you need to print 11. So this is input that is given by the user. Okay. So if at all there's a number given like 1, 2, 3, you'll be returning 6 here. Okay. If at all there's a number given 1, 4, 5. Okay. You'll be returning 10. Okay. So how can you do this thing? Can anyone tell me how to do this? Just tell me the logic. Don't tell me the code. Okay. How you'll be doing it? This is a question, right? It's a good question. Correct? Guys. Correct. So yeah. So basically, let me tell you. Let me write this thing again. So you can see 7, 1. I need to return the sum, right? So how about so as I said, I talked about modulo, right? So what you'll do is you'll just do modulo 10. So this thing will basically give me the last digit. Okay. So this will basically give me 1. Okay. And then let me divide it. Okay. Let me divide this thing by 10. So you'll get it as 37. So I'm basically picking the one digit and I can make it add, right? I can make it add into some value, that is sum equals to sum plus equals to 1, that is sum is initially 0, right? Sum is initially 0. You'll do sum plus equals to 1. It means that the last digit is been added and then I'm removing this, right? Pick up last digit, remove last digit, add it to the answer. Correct? So these are the 3 steps, right? So उसके बाद ये देखो, like again you need to do the same thing, that is take this, you get 7, you divide it with 37, that is 3, and add 7 to the sum, right? So I'll do again the same thing. 3 modulo 10 is 3, right? 3 divided by 10 is 0, and you'll just add the 3, and then you'll stop because the value is 0, right? So can you see I'm repeatedly doing the same procedure, right? It's the same procedure, right? Even though the values are differing, the procedure is same. You're doing the modulo, you're adding that modulo into the sum, you're dividing it again, right? Here also you're doing the modulo, you're dividing it with 10 and then adding the sum, correct? Are you guys getting what I'm doing? Guys, don't send the code. Don't send the code. So just focus on the class. Okay. It will just give the spoilers to the students. Okay. So there you go. Basically what I'm doing is okay, I'm picking up the last digit, I'm adding it into the value, right? Into the sum, and then I'm dividing it with 10, right? So I'm doing it again and again, right? I'm doing it again and again, correct? Correct. So I'm doing it again and again. So I know that I need to use a loop here because I can't write this thing for every time, right? I need to do a code. I need to write a loop for it. Okay, because I don't even know what is the length of the digits, right? Length of the value. So it will be printing like I need to do it repeatedly for how many times I don't know, right? So I definitely need to use a loop. And what will be the termination condition? When the value becomes 0, this is the condition. That's termination. Correct. That's termination condition. Okay. Value 0 है, termination condition है, and this is a procedure every time, right? Initialization is with this value, right? And the termination condition is this one. The update is already happening. This is the update statement. So we have all the 3 parts of the loop. So definitely we'll go for the loop. Okay. Cool. Right now. So what I'll be doing is I'll be basically so let me go into the GDB now. Yeah, definitely I'll just show it in the compiler flow. Don't worry. Trust me. Okay. So now basically I'll just take a scanner class because scanner is important because we're taking it from the user, right? So let me import the scanner. One night will cry. Okay. So let me take an input from the user as well. sc.next int. Okay. Now we have the value into n, correct? Okay. So so let me print a statement like key enter a value. I hope this question is not discussed in the doubt session, right? Is that discussed? It was. No. Someone says no. Yes or no, guys? No, right? Chalo. So it's a cool question, right? So you're supposed to find the sum of the digits, right? So it is cool. So now I'm taking the input from the user, right? Now what I'll do is I'll run a loop. Okay, I'll tell the condition later. Okay. Now what I'm doing basically is that I am dividing like this one, right? So let me put it into a variable called d, that is digit. Okay. You have the digit n modulo 10. Okay. So you have the digit. Now with this digit, right? So you'll just so I'll just make an sum here. I'll just create sum equals to 0. Okay. And let me add that to the sum. Okay. Every time I'm picking up, so this is basically will pick up the d. Nothing is changed in the n. N is remaining. N is still the same. Now I'll change the thing in the n as well, right? I'll divide it with 10. Now, so any number, if you divide it with 10 and you are doing an integer division, if you're doing 37, then it'll be 3. Okay. If you're doing 359 by 10, you'll be having 37 as the value. Okay. Cool. Correct. Correct, guys. So I'm just adding that into the sum. Okay. I'm just adding that into the sum and I'm dividing the n value, right? Again and again. So I'll be doing this thing till it is 0. So I'll be putting the condition as if n is greater than 0, just keep till n is greater than 0, keep on doing it. Okay. And at the end, I'll be printing the sum. Let me print the sum. Over. So this loop will terminate once n will become 0, and then I'll be printing the sum. Okay. Let me write something like 172. Okay. It is nothing but 10. Okay. So let me put enter. You can see that I'm getting the answer as 10, right? So if you want me to print the sum at every point, I can do that. Okay. Okay. Let me print inside the loop. Okay. At every point after each iteration, I can print the sum. You can do that. Okay. So let me write something like 2 5 3 2 1. Okay. So you can see initially the value was 1, right? That is from the back. You're picking it up from the back, right? So value is 1, and then you add 2, then it is 3, and then you add 3 to it, then it is 6, and then you add 4 to it, it is 10, and then you add 5 to it, it is 15. Cool, right? So are you guys able to see this? Correct? If at all you're using float, okay, there will be some problem because of that. Because if at all you're doing division to a float, right, you won't be actually eliminating it, but you will be putting it into a decimal position, which you don't want, right? So that's the reason why we are not doing it. Okay, cool. So is this thing clear, guys? Just let me know if it is clear. Correct. So in this way, you gave int sum equals 0. Please increase the screen size. Acha. Screen size is काफी नहीं है. Okay. So is this fine now? Right. So you guys can see what is the like output here, right? So it is 5 4 3 2 1. I'm going in from the back, right? So 1 3 6 10 15. Correct. So in that way, I'm doing it again and again. Same thing. Correct. So I'm just picking up a digit. This is the digit, and I'm adding it into the sum. So with this question, this is a base question for Armstrong and the palindrome, both of them. Okay. So these things are like child to it. Ismay, like you will have some modifications to into them. That's the difference. Okay. I'll do that. Don't worry. Okay. So now this is the question. So I've explained you guys the question, right? So let me copy paste it here. So let me write something like, so let me not copy paste it. Let me write it again. Okay. Okay. You gave us some. Can we write? Yeah. So if you write int sum, in that case, what will happen is that whatever is the default value in the sum, that will be there. If at all you do it in C++, right, or C, there will be a garbage value. Garbage value means it could be any value. It could be 100, it could be 200, or any value, 300 or 152 or any value, right? But if at all you're doing it in Java, you'll be assigned a default value that is 0, right? So initially it will be 0, but I'm doing it explicitly. Okay. For you to realize ki 0 hai already. Okay. So it will be 0. Definitely you can do that. You can try that. Okay. And you can check that. But I'm just telling you. Okay. Okay, guys. Shall I move forward? Yeah. If you want to see which number has been extracted exactly, then I can print something like key. There you go. Let me print something like. So there you go. You can do a lot of magic with this, right? You just need to know. So let me run this code. So you can see at every step, I can see what is the D value. Okay. If at all I'm doing something like this, okay, this is the value. Okay. So let me see. So you can see that D equals to 1, the sum is 1. D equals to 2, sum is 3. D equals to 8, sum is 11. D equals to 4, 15. D equals to 7, 22. D equals to 6, 28, right? So I can print sum as well here. So in that way, it will be much clearer for you guys. So do you guys need some? No. So let me run it. You can do anything, man. Guys, is this clear? You can see the summation, right? This is how it is happening. Okay. So chalo, let me continue. Okay. So देखो अभी क्या हो रहा है, right? Now what's happening is that key. So I think few people, so more than 50 people want me to do that, right? So let me let me tell first Armstrong. It is much simple, right? So Armstrong problem is nothing but sum of cubes of digit bus. This is the difference. Okay. So Armstrong number is a number which is whose sum of cubes of digit, cube matlab to the power 3, okay, d to the power 3 is equal to the number itself. So only then you can call it as a Armstrong number. Okay. Are you guys getting it? Right. So if at all I've taken a number like 152, okay, or 153, I guess. Okay. So what is the digit? So iska cube is 27, right? Iska cube is 5 cube, that is 125, right? And iska cube is 1 cube, that is 1, right? So you'll be having 125 plus what 27 plus 1, right? So you can have something like 153. So it is exactly equal to this number, right? So it is an Armstrong number. Like 153 is an example of an Armstrong number, right? Correct. So it is all about that. Okay. The only difference is that. So let me do that question. Okay. So instead of the sum, so here you are getting a sum, right? So instead of so while extracting each and every digit, I'll just multiply that digit with 3 times with itself, right? D into D into D, that is power of D, and I'm putting it in the sum, right? So I'll be just checking key if sum is equal to n. But the problem here, there's one problem here. Can anyone tell me what is the problem? If I do this thing, there's one problem. Right. So after this loop ends, n ka value is 0. Now every time you will be comparing it with 0. So I need to store this value somewhere before I perform all these things, because in this performation, everything is being destroyed. Correct. So let me write something like key. I'll just save this thing in something like answer. ANS equals to answer equals to n, right? So and sum equals to n, not n. Now I'll be comparing it with the answer. If yes, then you'll just print ki हाँ सही बात है, Armstrong number है. वरना else is as I said, guys, else is a statement where you'll be like, if this thing fails, okay, then we will be coming here and executing this, correct? So it will be false. Okay, and there's one more thing, guys. These brackets, okay. These brackets, you can skip these brackets if at all there's only one statement. Okay, so you can write this brackets if at all there are multiple statements which you want to execute in an if statement, but you don't have to use a bracket if at all this thing is happening. Okay. Yeah, Abhishek, don't get angry. There's no need of storing here, right? Yeah, I'll make that. I'll explain that, Shubham. Don't worry. Okay. So yeah, Abhishek, now it is much If the variable in a loop is updated, it will get updated for the whole program. Yes, it will be updated for the whole program, Shailesh. Okay, it's a loop, right? It's also a part of the program, right? In a program, any variable is changed, but the whole program, the variable will remain the same, right? Okay, that will be updated, right? If you want me to do it in Acciojob site, sure, I can do that. Chalo, let me copy this thing. Where is this question? So this one, right? Armstrong finder. So let me print this. So I think I need to print 1 or 0, right? So let me print 1, or else I'll just print 0 in the false case. Correct. So let me write something like 150. Okay, let me run this case. Right, you can see it is 0. So let me put 153. Let me run. You can see it is 1. 1 is correct. So let me submit this code. So in the main course, everything will become from the scratch. Yeah. Right, that's correct. That's correct. So plus equals to is plus equals to 10. It means nothing but sum equals to sum plus 10. So it is just that you're incrementing 10 to the present value. Bus. Well, sum ka value plus 10 and put it into some values. That's it. Okay. It's a number, right? It's a number. It's not an absolute string. So you can skip that. And even if you can put using double quotes also, it will work. So that's about Armstrong number, guys. So palindrome is also similar. Okay. In palindrome, it's just that you have a number 1, 5, 3, 4, something like this. Okay. So you just need to create a reverse of this. So this is a reverse value. This is an n value and there's a reverse of the n, right? So you just need to compare. So you just need to generate this reverse of a particular n, and you just need to compare these both are same or not. Bus. So it is something like if at all I have something like 1, 5, 3, 1, 2, 1. So reverse of this is also 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, right? So you can see, right? You can see it's the same thing, right? So what I'm saying is you'll be comparing these two things and they are same, they are exactly equal, right? So the whole game is in making the reverse of a digit, reverse of a number, because that's the most important, that's the key part here. Correct. Okay, so this is not Acciojob. So this is a website, bro. This is Acciojob portal. So this is another portal for me. So it's the same thing. Okay. So that one is a little different UI, but this is the Acciojob portal. Okay. You can see. Right. This is for the different batch. Okay. So I'm an instructor in that also. So I'm doing it. So the whole game is in making this thing. Okay. So how do you do that? Right. That's the question. There's a number called 1, 2, 3. How do you make 3, 1, 3, 2, 1 from it? How? That's the question. Right? So basically what I'll be doing is I'll be just picking up. So I'll just pick up last digit of this program. Okay. So initially I'll have the reverse digit as 0. I'll just pick up the last digit. I'll just add it to the value for the first time. Okay. Now the value is 1, 2, right? So I'll pick up 2 again, right? And I'll multiply this with 10 and add 2 to it. Okay. It'll be 30 plus 2, that is 32. Okay. And then I'll pick up the last digit. I'll multiply this with 10, right? And I'll add 1 to it, right? Then it is 320 plus 1, that is 321. Okay. 321, right? So it is just why to multiply 10? because I don't want to like accumulate the sum of the digits, right? I want the last digit to be appended at the end. Okay. So if at all you have a value like 12, if at all you want 3 to be appended to this value, it means that these places need to be multiplied with 10 so that the unit place will be empty, and then it will become 120, and then you'll add 3 to it, so it will be 123. So if you directly add 3 to it, it will be 15, right? Which I don't want. So I'll be multiplying it with 10 so that, so if you remember this thing, this has the power 10 power 0, right? 10 power 1, right? So if you are multiplying it with this will become 10 power 1, this will become 10 power 2, and 10 power 0 will be vacant, where you will be putting your single digit. And that's exactly how you will be appending things. Cool. Number, no length is 5, then what's doing what? Right? So are you guys understanding how I'm creating this value? Okay, and this value will be again used to check. Okay, so let me do the same thing again. Can we use decimal in palindrome? No. A palindrome, like at least here, so it is strictly stated that it's a number. Okay, it's a single integer. It's not a decimal. Okay, it's an integer. Okay, so you're wrong in that aspect. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me open palindrome as well. So let me code it here first, so it will be much clear for you guys. Okay, so let me. So it is almost same. Like till here, it is same. So instead of sum, I'll put something like rev, right? Rev equals to 0, right? Then I'll do the same thing. I'll just pick up the last digit, and instead of doing this thing, I'll just do something like rev equals to rev into 10 plus d. So this is exactly how our reverse value will be made. Okay, and our reverse value will be compared with the answer, and it is true or false, as simple as that. So the whole key is changing in this, creating reverse value, reverse integer. What's happening? So could you please explain the mathematical part again? Yeah, sure. So basically, just tell me a number. Like if the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So what I'm doing is I'm just picking up the last part, right? I have the value 0 here. I'll just multiply 0 with 10 and add the last digit, that is 4. Now the value will become 4. Okay, clear? And now I'll pick up this value. I'll just multiply this value with 10 and then add with 3, so that will become 43. So I don't want 4 plus 3. I want, like initially I have the value 4, I have the value 3, I want it to be 43, right? So I'll just multiply this thing with 10 and then add 3 to it. Are you getting it? Right? So we are doing this because the units place will go to the tens place, tens place will go to the hundreds place, hundred place will go to the thousands place. In that way, it will be moving in this way. And then if you add it in the units place, it will be 43. Are you getting it? So if at all the second value, that is this one, so I'll multiply it with 10 and then I'll add 2 to it, correct? It will be 430 plus 2, that is 432. Again multiplied with 10 plus add 1 because this is the last part, right? It will be 4220 plus 1, that is 4321, right? So in this way, this value is being changed into this value, correct? Our logic is not that difficult, Shalini. Just try to think about it. So this thing, n divided by 10, it's the same process as before, right? Picking up the last digit into like from the n and removing that, right? It's all about picking this digit and dividing it by 10 so that the last digit now is 123. In this way, I'm removing the elements from this. Here, I'm adding the elements by multiplying it. Are you able to see that? Correct? Okay, so chalo, I think it is clear for you guys. Okay, I'm glad that it is clear. Okay, so in that way, so yesterday did I explain about nesting? Did I cannot find any nesting here. Yeah, no, I didn't explain nesting, right? So nesting is basically, so shall I continue or do you guys need no, after the nesting I'll give the break. Okay, so basically there's a concept called nesting. Okay, so it is nothing. So I think I've explained you guys, right? Didn't I? No, I didn't explain. Okay, I must have explained it in the other batch. Okay, so basically so nesting is basically nothing. It's just this is like almost every solution you write, there will be initially the solution will be of this type only. You will be having loop inside the loop. Okay, okay, my bad. So they go, it's all about loop inside the loop. So if at all I'm writing something like if I equals to 1 and I is less than or equal to 10 and I plus plus, this is a for loop, right? That will be run for 10 times, right? So inside this you have a loop that is int j equals to 1, j is less than or equal to 5, j plus plus. Okay, and inside this you have something like system.out.println, something like hello. Okay, so my question to you guys is how this thing will be functioning, how many times the hello will be printed. Okay, this is my question, right? So let me tell you, this loop will run for 10 times, right? And for each time this loop will run, this loop inside this, like this will be one iteration, right? This will be one iteration, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that way, 10 times it will be running, right? So 10 times I've written, right? And every in each iteration of the outside loop, the inside loop will be running for 5 times, right? So this will run in this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So even for this also it will run for 5 times, right? For this also it will run for the 5 times. So for each loop it is running for 5 times. There are 10 times it is running. So it is 10 into 5, that is 50 times hello will be printed. Are you guys understanding this? Hello? Or is this too difficult to understand? Right? 50 hellos, right? So it's all about like every time this thing runs, every time this thing runs, 5 times this thing will run. Okay? 5 times this thing will run. Again it will run. 5 times this thing will run. 5 times it will be printed. Again this thing will run. The outside loop will run. 5 times this will run. Okay? This will run. 5 times this will run. Right? So it's about every time you're running a loop, like iteration from because of the outside loop, you'll be running it. You'll be running this thing for the 5 times, and this is exactly called nesting. Okay? So you can put another loop inside this. It will be 3 loop nesting, right? So for everything, this will run, this will run, this will run. So these values need to be multiplied to know the number of times the inner statement will be printed. Okay? 10 into 5. अगर एक और loop लगा दिया मैं ऐसे बाहर, ठीक है? Something like कि j k equals to 1, k is less than or equal to 15, और नहीं 15 ज्यादा होगा 3, ठीक है? K plus plus, right? So if at all I do something like this, so it will be 50 into 3, right? That is 150 times the thing will be printed, because for every time this will be running, this thing will be running for 3 times, and for every time this loop will run, this will run for the 5 times, right? So it is basically nothing but 15 times for every time this will run. So 15 into 10 is nothing but 150, correct? In that way you can write any number of, right? You need any number, you can put any number of loops here. Okay, the point is how this loops will be working, right? For every time this outer loop will run, this loop will run for so many number of times. So this is also part of the iteration, right? Don't think that this is outside loop. Okay, for every time this will be running, like you can see there are 5 red lines, right? So this is a part of this thing, right? So this will be running for 5 times, and then this will be ended, and again then in the next iteration again this will be running for the 5 times, right? So using this thing, I can make various patterns. I can do a lot of things. Okay. somebody thinks it is too fast. What do you mean, Hitesh? Yeah, anywhere. I'm not saying only in, so you can use while loop, you can use for loop, you can use any amount of loops. Okay, any loop. So I'm telling you now, guys, I'm repeating again and again. While loop and for loop में कोई फर्क नहीं है. It's all about the syntax. Okay, you can use anything whichever you are comfortable with. Okay, like in the Armstrong problem, I'm comfortable more with while loop. But if you want me to do it in for loop, I can do that as well. Okay, let me do that using while loop, for loop. Okay, so initially the initialization is happening here. Okay, so let me do it using for loop. Okay, so let me comment this thing out so that you guys won't confuse. Okay, so let me do the same code using for loop. Okay, let's see. I don't want to initialize because initialization already happened. Okay, I want to check for the condition. Condition will be n is greater than 0. I want to do the update. Update will be something like this. Okay, equals to 10. Okay, and then again we'll just pick up the value from it and modulo 10. Okay, and you'll just put rev into 10 plus d. Okay, बस इतना ही है. So it will run. You can see that update statement is taking care of it, right? You can see it is getting true, correct? But the same thing, right? देखो, logic is same. It is same here. Condition is also same, right? The problem is this one with this one, right? So update is happening here. So I can make update happen here also, but it will again look like a while loop. So I am doing it here because update statement will always run. Okay. But are you guys able to see this? See the difference? Yeah, you can have else if statements inside the loop also. You can have if statements inside if statements also. Anything is possible. Okay, everything is nesting. Okay, so don't think कि लूप के अंदर if statements नहीं हो सकता, else statement नहीं हो सकता, सब हो सकता है. यहाँ पे मैं if else statement लिख सकता हूँ, कुछ भी लिख सकता हूँ मैं. Anything is possible. It's all about how you write the code. ठीक है? Okay, so let me explain you further. ठीक है? So if at all I'm asked to print this pattern. Okay, so you will be given a value like n equals to 4 from the user. You need to print a cube like this, not cube, square like this, n equals to 4 wala. So this program is for palindrome, bro, Shivam. So how can you print this thing? So I can see that if n is given 4, you will be printing this. If n is given 5, I'll be printing the same thing. Right? So I can see that I need to use a loop because 5 times it is running, and every time it is running, I'm printing 5 values. Okay, and this is also dynamic, this is also dynamic, right? So that's where I will be using 2 loops. Okay, so basically what I'll be doing is, I know that for every time I'm performing this thing, okay, for every time I'm performing this thing, I'm printing star for the number of times I'm printing it here. Okay, so I'm having a nested loop inside it because in each iteration I'm performing this thing. In each iteration I'm performing 5 times. I'm printing it 5 times, and then I'm going to change, right? So for each iteration, also the thing is dynamic. So I need to have a loop inside an iteration, right? So for that, I'll be doing something like, I'll be having a loop like this, like 1, okay, less than or equal to n, I plus plus, right? And inside this, I'll have another loop that is int j equals to n, j is less than n, j plus plus. SOP print, okay, it's only print, okay? And let me have something like star, and then let me have some space between the stars, okay? So after this is done, I'll be writing only SOP, just a single SOP, because I need to change the line, right? This will just basically skip the line for me after this loop has ended. So here to skip this line, I'm doing this. So I can have n into n box printed. Do you guys agree? Hello? So in for loop, so that's the syntax, bro. That's the syntax. So this semicolon will basically separate initialization condition and the update statement. Okay. So let me write open another GDB for you guys. Let me print the same thing. Let me copy. So let me write a loop like this, and for every line, I'm writing something like this. Right? Let me write something like string space. Correct. Now after this loop ends, let me change the line. Okay. Bus. Let me print. The scanner is missing. Yeah. Let me import that. Let me run this code. You can see it is a square of 7. Correct. So you can see, so the number of strings, the number of stars that are printed is the same as the value n. So I am just using this value. Correct. Bus itna hi hai. It is as simple as that. Okay. Guys, yeah, we'll take a break as well. Okay, don't worry. Yeah, we'll take 5-minute break. Okay. So it's in 5 minutes we'll be back. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll explain. Shubham, don't worry. Shubham, don't worry. Dheere dheere, I'm just reaching the staircase na. Don't worry. Dheere dheere, I'll reach that. Okay. We'll take 5-minute break. Okay. 10 minutes it is too much, bro. Okay. So we'll come back. Okay. So just try to assimilate whatever you know. Okay. We'll try to do. Array भी करेंगे यार. Like questions इतना सारे पूछ रहा हूँ. I want to do arrays as well. Okay, but let's see. Yeah, guys, I think we can continue. Yeah, बताओ क्या हुआ? I can. What's happening? Yeah, देखो, you can just like any value could be chosen. It's not just this value. Okay. So based on the value, like यहाँ पे 7 है, so I can see some chat going on regarding this. So अगर if at all I give something like 9 or 10, so the 10 this and the value 10 will be printed. Okay. You can see 10. You can see that 10 ka square has been made, right? In the same way. अरे यार, what is this? Let me run this. And if at all I'm writing something like 100, okay, you can see that this line got little this thing, but that's a problem here, definitely. Or let me write with some finite value like 17 or 18, or let me do something like 20. Okay, so you can see that it's a 20 square, right? So any value could be done using loops, and that's the beauty of it. Okay, I can't manually write the statements again and again. So here it's not a sophistication, it's a necessity. Okay, so let me tell you again. Yeah, now, so you want me to explain me the staircase problem, right? For that, I guess you need to know about this problem. Okay, about the problem of printing this. If the value is given n equals to 4, I'm supposed to print something like this. How can you do this? Like, that's a question, right? So similar to this, I'll just use a loop that will be running for 4 times to print this, but every time it is dynamic. Okay, the number of stars that are printed in each row is varying with the iterator value. It is same as the iterator value, right? Number of stars present printed, okay, equals to the iterator's value, correct? And that's exactly what we want, right? So if I equals to 1, you will be printing 1. If I equals to 2, I'll be printing 2. I equals to 3, I'll be printing 3. I equals to 4, I'll be printing this. I equals to 5, the loop will break and then nothing will be printed. Correct? Correct? Right, guys? So cool, right? So instead of just this n, I'll just put this iterator value, that is I. Bus, as simple as that. Let me do that. Correct? So you can see, let me write a value 10. Okay. So you can see that this value has been printed in this way. So let me remove this space for now. Okay. Because I don't want to show it in this way. So let me see. So let me put a value 10. You can see that it is a pyramid in this way. Correct? Correct, guys? Are you following? Guys, correct? So enter a value 10, right? So every time the value is like here at this point, I ka value is 1, right? Here the value is I ka value is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct? So in this way, the stars are being printed, and after each value, like based on the value of I, the number of stars are decided. Okay? So in this way, it is printed. Now the question, the staircase problem, right? So chalo karte wo, right? So right aligned, right? So nothing is changed. It's just that key number of stars that are printed is dependent on the i's value, correct? Okay. So I think this is cool for everyone. This is clear for everyone. So similar to the star, similar to the square thing, I'm just changing the I value because I've seen that it is dynamically changing. Simple cheese, correct? Correct. Okay. So here in the J loop, previously I'm just printing the number of stars that is constant as n, but now I'm changing it into I value. Okay. I'm changing it into a I value, correct? correct? So what is J? J is the inside loops iterator. Okay. Okay, guys. So let me continue. Okay. So let me continue. Now I want to print something like this. I will be given. Let me write it on the PPT only. So here I'll be writing something like this. Okay, for n equals to 4, you'll write something like this. Okay, for n equals to 5, you'll write the same thing. So again, it's the same thing. Okay, just one change. Okay, it's the same thing. You need to run the loop. Okay, I'm sorry, there's one more thing. You just need to run the loop, and based on the iterator value, the number of stars is also determined. It should be I. Okay, whatever the I is, I equals to 1, one star need to be printed. I equals to 2 में 2 stars need to be printed. I equals to 4 में 4 stars need to be printed. I equals to 5 में 5 stars need to be printed. It's the same thing. The thing that changes here is this one. How to make this print here. So I can do it by using spaces, right? This could be a space. This is also a space. Also space. Space character is not visible, right? This is also space. This is also space. This is also space, right? Similarly, यहाँ पे you have a space, you have a space, you have a space, space. I'm just circling that space. Okay. You have this space. So at the end you have the square. Okay, this is a square, right? This is also a square, correct? Square in the sense कि यहाँ पे n है, size यहाँ पे भी n ही होगा. And I know that I am printing I stars here. So what are the number of spaces here? The total length is n, the value is I, so it should be n minus I number of spaces, correct? It should be n minus I number of spaces, because guys, are you following? Correct. So they are n minus I number of spaces. You can see for I equals to 1, there are 4 spaces that are printed. So how this value 4 has come? 5 minus 1, right? In a similar manner, 5 minus 2, right? 3 spaces, correct? 5 minus 3, 2 spaces. 5 minus 4, 1 space. And then 5 minus 5, 0 spaces. You can see there are 0 spaces that have been printed. Agreed? Empty spaces, correct? So I'll do the same thing here, except that every time before printing this thing, I'll write a loop before this. So I'm not writing a nested loop inside nested loop inside nested loop. I'm just having 2 nested loops, right? But in this loop, I'm just writing it in a series manner, right? So what I'll be doing, I'll be using J again. I'll be using 1, and let me write n minus I as the value, as the number of statements that need to be printed. Okay. So you can see I'll just print a space here, correct? I'll just print this one. After all the spaces are done, then this loop will start working, and then the number of these things will be printed, and then the line will be changed, right? So in this way, let me run this code. You can see that I'm printing all the spaces before this, and I can see that it is n minus 1. So let me write a value 10. You can see that it is a right aligned pyramid. Guys, correct? So it's all about key. The question here is, it is the same thing as before. It is just that what I should do to make this thing move in that way. Bus. Okay. So if at all I don't write I here, if at all I write something like n here, so let me run. So n spaces ke baad, again the left pyramid will be made, correct? So this is how it is made, correct? Guys, right? Are you guys getting it? So can you guys think of making a pyramid like this? Like with all the, like, yeah, that could be done easily, right? So I think this could be done easily, but you guys know how to print a pyramid like this, right? You guys know how to print a pyramid like this. You know how to print a pyramid like this. So it could be done. Same thing could be done, right? Or else A different pyramid would be just putting a star here, right? So let me make it I minus 1 and let me run this. You can see that it is another type of, this is a different pyramid. This is the same pyramid with the spaces, right? But without this thing also, try to build a pyramid like this. You guys can do that. I believe in you guys, right? You guys can do that. Okay? Because you guys are able to print this one. You guys are able to print this one, right? You guys are now smart enough to do that one also, correct? So it is just that कि यहाँ पे एक star होना चाहिए, यहाँ पे like there should be 2 stars. Wherever the space is, there you need to have a 2 stars. ठीक है बस, as simple as that. ठीक है, it's all about this. ठीक है, so you'll have a complete pyramid. Guys, think on your own. Try to make more patterns. Try to make a pattern like this: 1 2 2 3 3 3 4 4 4 4. Try to write something like this. Can you do this? Can you guys do this? Hello, I can do that. You can see, right? It is working, right? 1 2 2 3 3 3. Now this is the ice value, right? I'm printing that ice value. So 10 has been out, like it is out of the proportion because 10 is 2-digit value, right? So that is not making sense here now, but this will work before 10. See, it's a pyramid, nice pyramid. 1 2 2 3 3 in that way, right? So try to write something like 1 2 1. So in that way, so there's a question like this, so let me remember it. I'm not able to recollect it properly. So it is something, you can see the chat, correct? So guys, try to do these questions. These are really nice questions. Okay, so something like this, yeah. So 3, something like 3 2 1 2 3. Okay, 3 2 1 2 3 and 4 4, right? In that way, 4 3 2 1 2 4 5 5. In that way, can you guys print this pattern? Yes, you can print this pattern. You guys are smart. I know you guys, correct? I know you guys, you can do this, right? It is all about iterator value, right? यहाँ पे 1 है, so you'll just print 1. यहाँ पे 2 है, you just take that value to 1 and then bring it back to the same value. Do the same thing again, right? Do the same thing again. बस हो गया, correct? You guys can do this, right? So try to think. अगर नहीं हो पाया, we can discuss it tomorrow also. ठीक है? So let me continue with the concept which I want to teach. I think I made this thing clear, right? The pattern pyramid thing, I've made it clear, right? So what is this INJ? INJ are the iterator values of the for loop. Okay? The values which you need to increment, correct? Guys, think. So I want you guys to print something like this as well. Okay? Stars, all stars. Okay? I want you guys to print this one also. Inverted, right? Stars. I want you guys to print this one also, diamond. Stars. All these questions you can do it. Okay? So consider it as my personal homework. If you want to do something big. Okay? So try to print a pyramid like this based on the value. Okay? Can you guys do that? Yeah, anything is possible, man. Meena, anything is possible. You just need to find the way. Okay? Anything is possible. Trust me. Okay? You guys need to just like, you are able to write it with your mind. You should be writing it you should be able to write it, right? So Meena has asked me this question: can you print this? Yes, I can print this. How many of you can print this with me? Shall I print and show you? I don't think it's necessary. So shall I print? Yeah. So there you go. You can use a value like something like k equals to 1. Okay. So do the same thing. but every time you print, okay, every time you print the value of k, increment it plus 1, plus do it something like k plus plus. Okay, so every time you print a star, instead of star, just print k plus plus. Okay, so what will happen is that k will be printed, and then it will be incremented, and next time it will be printed, it will be having a value more than that. Bas same star wala value, na same thing. Correct? Correct? Chalo. Okay, so you guys do it. Agar tum log nahi kar pa rahe ho, I'll be discussing these questions as well. Okay, tomorrow. Don't worry. Okay. So great, man. You guys understood a lot of things. Few people it was revised and it was nice. Chalo. So let me continue with today's class. Okay. So I've explained this thing, right? N minus 1 spaces before I stars. I stars. Okay. That's it. So chalo. Okay. Double is an pre-post increment operator. You can just print k, and you can just do k equals to k plus 1. You can do that thing also. I'm just saying ki how this could be used. So for that, I'm just telling you guys. Okay. Don't worry. Okay. So let me continue. So chalo, what was the topic which I was sir, break for 2 minutes for the fresh start. Yeah, Shruti, try it on your own. Na? I'll explain it. Don't worry. Try it on your own. The diamond shape also is also good beta. Okay? I want you guys to try it on your own. It's not possible for me to practically give you break and complete the syllabus as well. So I think we should continue without the break, guys. Is that fine? So we'll discuss something called arrays. Okay? Yes, sir. Every star is printing in new line. Bro, Mohammed, you're doing a print ln, na? Don't do print ln. Just do system.out.print. Okay? What is asked in the interview to go to the main course. So these are the basic things. Whatever I'm teaching, just follow the notes, follow the PPTs, follow the class, and do the assignments. These are the questions that will be asked. Okay? So simple debugging statements, simple codes. These are the questions that will be asked. Okay? Don't worry. Correct? Okay. Array. And again, you need to skip the line. It's not possible for you to do it again. Like every point, every time you can't just print it without the landscape. After every actual outside iteration, you need to change the line. So a blank println statement would work for that. Okay. So chalo, I'll discuss the class. Okay, for today. Okay. So basically, also I want to job good as you as ST. Okay, correct. We'll talk about this thing, guys. Don't worry. So there's a lot of time. So देखो, guys, have you ever thought कि you have something called int a equals to 25, right? And then you'll have something like int b equals to some value that is 68 or something. Okay. In that way, you'll keep on like what if you're supposed to store 25 or 30. Okay, 25. Let us assume you're supposed to store 25 values are to be stored. So I've showed you how to store a single integer, right? right? So if there's a 25 values, like it could be anything, it could be marks of students, it could be anything, right? So 25 values in a sequence, they are given to you in your code. So like 25 could vary also, right? So but is that practically possible for you? Like do you think you need like you need something to solve this problem? Because every time you can't make these symbols, right? Every time you can't just make a b c d d f g z tak bana diya, aur uske aage what if you have 50, you'll be putting a b b in that way. That's not practically possible, right? For you to write everything manually, correct? So if at all there's a large array, okay, you will think that I need something like a0, I'll put something like 1, a1, I'll put something like 0, a2, in that way, a24, right? I'll be having some value like 68, right? So in that way, if at all, like there are 24 more, okay? So if at all you have something like this will be more convenient for you to store it, right? Agreed. Correct. So it's not like, so if, so this is how you're supposed to do, right? This is how you're supposed to do this thing. Okay, a0, a1, a2, a3, a4, but it's not practically possible for you to write everything, right? Write all the number of variables, because you don't know what are the number of values. Like they could say in the program that there are 30 values, so will you be keep on writing the variable names? 30, a30 tak, a31, a30 tak tum likh ke every time you encounter a value, will you be doing nextint sc dot a dot nextint sc dot nextint? In that way, will you be doing? No, right? So you need something, you need a basic data storing device, right? And that's where arrays come into the picture, right? So these guys are basically variable, like these are nothing but they are the variables that are stacked together, right? So if at all I define a size of array, okay, array is nothing but it is something like this, okay? It is a contiguous memory allocation with the same data type, right? Let me feature these things, right? First thing is that they have the same data type. All the variables that are assigned have the same data type, right? This guy could be having a value, this guy could be having a value. In that way, I've defined 25 variables, okay? 25 values, okay? So you'll be having all of them with the same data type, and every guy will be could be, and every guy could be accessed, like as I said, every guy could be accessed in a very fast manner, okay? So it's an easy access thing. So if at all you want to access the 5th value, you can easily access it. If at all you want to access the 12th value, you can easily access it, okay? So I'll tell you how to access it, but just understand how this is built, okay? So and there's another thing, easy access ho gaya, and the other thing is, as I said, they are side by side, so that's the reason why they are easily accessible, okay? They have contiguous memory allocation, memory locations, okay? So basically, wherever in the RAM, as I said, there are boxes, right? And each box is a bit, and 8 bits will become 1 byte, 4 byte will become one integer, right? If at all I've defined an integer type of array, right? Then this is an integer, right? This is an integer device. So every value is by side, and everyone is having the contiguous memory allocation, okay? Like contiguous memory location, right? Matlab, if at all you know the data of like you'll be knowing only the address of this value, you can easily access the 5th value, because after 5 ints it will be there, because it's a contiguous memory, right? It will be basically something in the memory in the RAM. Every, like all the integers are side by side, and that's the reason why for the easy access also. That is the reason for the easy access also, because you know this area, right? You know this address. Now you'll just need to go to two integers outside it, like itna space khatam karne ke baad the two integers outside this, after this, and you can easily access the second one, third one, in that way, correct? Correct. So array is something which is having all the contiguous memory location, all the elements are side by side, okay? Cool. Let me switch off the videos, okay? So and और क्या, like वही है, मतलब about like obviously if at all I've defined an integer data type, so I'll be writing something like int matlab 4 bytes in the memory, right? You guys can said, right? As you guys said, it is just 4 bytes in the memory, that is 32 bits, right? So after 32 bits, you can easily find the next value, after next value, next value. That in that way, easily you can access it. Or else if you want to go, you'll just skip 5 into 35 in that way. Okay? So it is easily accessible. Obviously, int ka there's some range, right? Minus 3 power 31 to 2 power 31 minus 1. So this is the range of the integer. Okay? So let me tell you how to define this thing. Okay? Before we move forward. So, but is this thing clear? Yeah, updating is also really easy, right? Is this thing clear? What is the first feature? That all the variables have the same data type and they're really easy to access, right? They are side by side and have the contiguous memory location. Okay? So, right, side by side, and they have the contiguous memory in the RAM. All the variables are stacked one after the other, and this is an advantage and also the disadvantage. Like you will realize it later once you learn more data structure. Then you'll realize that this is one of the disadvantages of array. But right now, because of this contiguous memory locations, you can easily access the elements. Okay? And each, like if at all it is in it, you have the memory, you have the range, and that's it. Like these are the so am I not loud enough? I'm loud enough, right? Well, these are the features of the array. Okay, features. Let me write something like features of the array. Cool. Yeah. Contiguous memory location in the sense ki this integer after as soon as this integer's memory ends, the next next integer's memory will start. As soon as this memory ends, the next integer memory will start. So all the 25 elements are side by side in the RAM. That is your primary memory. Got it, guys? Shall I move forward? Right. So let me move forward. Okay. So these are the features of a array. So let me write this thing again. So let me tell you how this thing is made. Okay. So the way you declare an integer, right? So you can assign some value like 45 to it. So this is called initialize declaration, and this is called initialization, right? Correct. In a similar manner, you can define an array of integers. Okay. जैसे मैं बताया, array should have a data type and all the elements of the array will be of the same data type. ठीक है? Correct. So I'll be defining an array of integers. Array मतलब it's a collection of integers. ऐसे समझ लो. ठीक है? Contiguous allocation of integers. ठीक है? Of the size 25. ठीक है? So for that, this is the declaration. So this is the declaration. This part is the declaration. You will be putting a square bracket open and the closed square bracket. So this is how you define a declare a integer. Okay. Cool, guys. Shall I continue? Right. So let me mark it as AR, not A, because A is already taken, right? AR, right? So let me give that let me actually allocate the value. Okay. So this part is called memory allocation. Okay. So here basically what we are doing is there's a keyword called new. So you might have seen this in the scanner also. At that time I said ki this guy is basically memory allocating, right? So this is called memory allocation actually. Okay. So what's happening here is you'll be using a new keyword and then you'll put int and then you'll put a square opening square bracket and closing square bracket. Inside this you'll mark what is the size. If at all I'm asking for 5, so 5 integers will be allocated side by side and you can easily access it. Okay. So this is called memory allocation, right? So basically till here this is just a reference variable. Okay, this is just a reference variable. This particular thing is just referring to a memory. Like this is a reference variable. This is a variable which could have the value of the reference. Okay, you can say that memory ka location ka address will be stored here. Okay, for now. Okay, it's just a reference variable. The moment you do this, right, it is actually in RAM, right? In RAM, actual 5 integer space will be allocated, and that address will be stored here. Okay, so this is not the actual memory here, right? Like you are seen in the here, right, in the primitive data types. It is something that you will be storing the reference to this, reference in the sense address to this particular memory that is present. Bus, as simple as that. Okay, yeah. So basically okay, no, it's not confusing, just bear with me. So I can do the same, just like I can write something like this, the single statement. I can write it in a single statement, right? In the same way I can write in the single statement also. Okay, don't worry, everything will be fine. Okay, it will be written something like this. So as I said, this is declaration, right? This is reference variable, declaration, and this part is memory allocation. Correct. And this is the, like, this is the memory allocation. That's it. Okay, so like this is a keyword used to allocate. Okay, good. So there you go. Now I've said how to declare it. Okay, so now let me tell you how to actually access the values. Okay, I said that it is easy to access, right? So can we create, yeah, of other types? Yeah, definitely you can create of other types. So instead of using integer, you can use float, you can use double, you can use char, you can use anything. Okay, byte, short. Okay, primitive data types you can easily create it. You can even create for the non-primitive data types like string. Okay, string के लिए भी तुम बना सकते हो, string of array. Right now, let me explain it to you for using an array. Okay, so how to access the elements? Even that's a first question, right? So the access is really simple. So to access the first element, you'll do something like AR square bracket 0. This is how you access the first element. Let me put some value inside it, that is 12. Okay. The second element is 45. Third element, this is how you will be accessing. This is the first element. Okay. Right. So 125. Okay. वैसे ही a equals to 3, 150. Okay. A equals to 4, that is n minus 1. Right. This will be the last element, that is 59. Correct. So in this way, if at all I created a 5 size array, right? So I can access the elements in this way. So this is called zero based indexing, because the first element is accessed by 0, right? The second element is accessed by 1, right? In this way, ARR 5 doesn't exist because there are only 5 elements, right? So this is how you access the elements, and this is how you put it into the values. So it is something like this. Okay, 5 values allocate to you're putting 12 into it, you put 45 into it, 125 here, 150 here, 59 here, right? And this is called AR, right? And this element is AR0. You can update it as you do in the variables. Okay, you can update it multiple times. The same thing will be updated everywhere. AR4. So this is called array, guys. No. Correct. So is this thing clear, guys? So I can definitely, if I want to, so what is the point of this thing, right? So I can write something like this also, A0, A1, A2, A3. In this way also I can write, but writing this is different, right? Because this is a like variable name. But here, instead of, so in this bracket, I can put an variable I. If at all I want to iterate, I can put a variable I here, right? From the loop to iterate it, to print it. Are you guys getting it? Hello. So let me tell a few more things about that. Okay. So like you guys don't know about this thing about the space thing. I can explain you. It is like something like 32 bits, right? At each point it could be 0 or 1, 0 or 1, 0 or 1, right? So in that way you have many like you have decision everywhere. That is 2, 2, 2. So it is nothing but 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 for 32 times. That is 3, 2 for 32 numbers could be stored, right? So that's the reason why. So I'm just telling it so that it will be useful in the future, but not now. Okay, so I'm having a lot of chat, man. Clear? Chalo, let me move forward. Okay. How do I do array rotation? Please don't ask such questions, man. I didn't even told you how to actually initialize the array properly. I didn't even told you how to print an array. Nothing is done yet. So you're going to the questions on arrays, right? Don't do that. Let me explain. Let me explain properly. Okay, step by step, and then we can do the questions. Okay, you're going little way ahead, which is not the exact speed of every student here, right? So I should keep mind in every student, and then we can ask the doubts. Okay. So such questions are supposed to be asked in the previous class, right? Uh, like for the previous class, like for the loops, if at all you had some questions, you could have asked in the loops section, because loops is done and I'm moving it to the next topic, right? So don't do that. Okay. Can we change array size after defining? No. So we can't change array size, but you can definitely create a new array and assign the same variable to it. Same variable to it. Okay. So we'll come back to that. Okay. We'll come back to that. You can't change. They are static data types. Okay. Static memory allocation is happening. Okay. So for example, I'll say, bro, you have an array here. You have values like this here. Okay. Like this here. Can you print the third value? Yes, I can print the third value. I'll just do this thing. AR of 2, because this is the third value, right? Can you print the fourth value? Yes, I can do that. Fourth value, correct? So are you getting what I'm doing? Hello, guys, correct? Correct. So can you print the fifth value? Yeah, I can print the fifth value. Yes, I can. Right. So AR of 4, right? So this is how it is done. Okay. So और क्या बताऊं? There's another way of defining an array. So like this, so you can do it in this way. Okay. In this way you can do it. Okay. You can just actually create the memory allocation and you can manually put the elements in this way. Or else there's another way where you can do something like this. Int a rr equals to bracket open, right? You can write the values in this way. So this is also a type of initialization. Okay. So let me do it in the compiler and show you. Just a second. So maximum size of the array is what I've personally seen. So theoretically, what I have seen is that 10 power 6 तक जा सकता है. ठीक है? So that's what I have seen. So I don't. So उसके आगे like 10 power 7 तक जा सकता है. हाँ. उसके आगे तो नहीं देखा मैंने. Seriously, honestly, right? Every time I do that, it will give me an error. Right? Something like that. So I need to confirm that. But I don't think you will be needing more than that. Okay? 10 power. ठीक है? So let me write something like this. ठीक है? Int a r equals to new, right? So let me write something like 10, not 10, 5. It will be hectic for me, right? So let me write something like ARR of 0 is having the value 1. Okay. ARR of 1, when the second value should be having the value 5. ARR of 2. Okay, this guy will be having the value this one. 4. I mean 6. Correct. So this is how this is done. Okay. So each value I can put it I can easily declare it. Okay. So this is another way. This is one of the way to print. Correct. So let me print. Let me have something like this. So let me print all the values. Okay. So let me run this. Okay. You can see 1, 5, 3, 6, 7. So in this way, so I've showed you guys key how 5 variables could be stored easily, like in this way, and those could be printed. So can you guys see there's a lot of repetition here, right? The same thing is doing again and again. So what do you think we should do? Agar repetition hai to bar bar. Guys, right? Loop, yeah, definitely. You'll be using a loop. Any type of loop, doesn't matter, for a while. I can use any type of loop because I'm smart. Okay. So देखो, let me write something. So देखो इतना सारा redundancy बाप रे बाप. So let me write a loop. I don't want so much of redundancy. So something like this, n equals to less than or equal to. So I need to run it from 0, right? Because it's a 0 based indexing, right? So I need to run it for L, and let me put this value, this thing inside this, right? And let me put I here. Okay. Okay. So just the way, so this is the actual benefit. Okay. So if at all you're doing something like A0, A1, so this thing can't be generated, right? This is a variable name. But now this is a part. This could be dynamically changed, right? So that's exactly, so agar I ka value 0 hai, so if at all the i's value is 0, you'll be accessing ARR of 0. If I value is 1, ARR of 1, ARR of 2, correct, ARR of 3. In that way, easily it could be done. Agreed, guys? Correct. Correct. Right. So in this way, so let me run this. Yeah, n ka value nahi hai, so I'll put 5 here. Okay. So basically, I mean to say the size of the array, and n means the size of the array, right? That's my bad. Okay, 1, 5, 3, 6, 7. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly true. Again, I can see that there's a lot of this thing happening, man. Repetition, right? So I can write. So there's another way of declaring an array. Okay. So this is one of the way. So let me tell you, there's another way. Okay. The other way is this one. Okay. So you just write a declare variable. You just put the bracket open 1, 5, 3, 6, 7. Same thing. Bracket close. So this is an array, right? So in this array, I'm just putting this thing. So same thing will happen. The memory will be allocated and everything. So everything for all these things, I'm just writing a short form. Okay. So let me comment this also, and let me do the way it was done previously. Okay. In the previous way only. Right here. So now I want to take input from the user, right? Cool. I don't want to manually give, because that's how exactly these things will happen, right? 10 students ka data, right? Correct. So user say input lena, so I'll be using loop again because the repetitive task, right? So how to use a loop? Yeah, I know that there are only 5 numbers, right? So I'll just mark it as a is less than 5, I plus plus, and then let me put something like this, and let me make a scanner class. Definitely I need a scanner. Correct. So next int, as I said, correct. इसमें क्या कर रहा हूँ? ARR of I. So in this way I can access the same way, right? So जैसे मैं n equals to sc dot next int करता था, now I am doing this thing, ARR of I equals to sc dot next int. So in this way I can gather all the 5 variables. Okay. So let me have something like this. Okay. So let me write 54, 23, 1, 4, 3 and 4. Okay. You can see the same values are being printed, right? 54, 23, 1, 3, 4. Correct. So you can see that the whole thing which I was doing, right, this part, right? So each value could be easily accessed in this way, ARR of square bracket I, right? Each value could be accessed in a really, really easy manner using this, right? Because of this, correct? And I can easily take it from the user, right? I can easily declare it previously. Also, I can do it. I can specifically change that value. Okay. For example, if at all I am changing the first value to something like this, that is 99. Whatever the value is, I'll just make it 99. Okay. So it will be changed. It will be changed anytime. Similar to the, you can see that it's not 1 anymore, it is 99. Okay. It is similar to the variables, right? This thing are similar to the variables, right? Now, ARR of 2, ARR of 1, everything is similar to the variables, correct? Yeah, array size of the user. Why don't you try it on your own? Can I take it? Can I take? Yeah, you can take array size from the user as well. Okay. So let me write that question also. Okay. So let me write something like key enter array size. Okay. So I'll just take int n equals to sc dot next int. Okay. And let me write n here instead of 5. Okay. And let me write n here instead of 5. Right. Array printed is, you'll have that value, correct? Okay, everything looks fine. Okay. Enter size, फिर उसके बाद let me write another statement like enter values. Okay. Not simply enter values, it is something like key okay, let's see. I've written a great code. Okay, let me enter 4 values. Okay, enter array size, enter 4 values. Okay, I could have, okay, so they are 3, 2, 9 and 1. They are printed 3, 2, 9 and 1, right? So I can see that you can use space or you can use enter also, right? So I've printed that value as well, correct? So in this way, I've written a code, guys. Are you appreciating this code? Oh, and there's one more problem. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's one mistake which I'm doing. Okay. So I've statistically like 4 worked, but not everything, right? So here, let me put n here. Okay. N should be kept here. Now the values could be any value, right? Let me put a value like 6. Enter array size is 6. Let me enter 6 values. You can see that array printed 1, 2, 3, 45, 60. So the value, like only once you can make the value, not always, you can't change it again and again. Okay? Only once you can define the size of an array, and then you can easily access the array elements, or you can easily print the array elements. Okay? Yeah, definitely, man. Everything in a single day is quite confusing. I agree, but इतना तो handle करना चाहिए तुम लोग को. ठीक है? I know that it is too much. So I think we can stop the class for today. If at all this is too much, okay. I wanted to teach few more things which we can do tomorrow. Don't worry, okay. But right now these are the arrays, right? These are arrays are made, okay. So I can definitely, so let me copy paste this code. This is really nice code, right? So let me copy paste it into your chat, into your PPT, okay, so that you guys can later refer it. Oh man, I need to make these things look nice also. Okay, so guys, is there anything else you would like to ask apart from this one? I wanted I wanted to teach a few other, there's one more loop which I wanted to teach, right? So I'll teach that tomorrow. Don't worry, let's not rush the things. Okay, let's do it slowly. Okay. Right. So this is the code, guys. I can see some chat being popped up. Yeah, I'll brief that. Okay. So just a second. Let me go back to the. Yeah, let me do that here. So similar to the int, okay. Similar to the int, I can do something like this as well. Okay. Like in the integer, we have written something like this, right? Int arr equals to new int, and you can put the size here, right? Size of the array, right? In the similar manner, I can do float ar equals to arf float, right? You can write float, right? So in that way, okay. And there's one more thing, like if at all you want to know what is the size, like n tumhe nahi pata, there's an attribute from in arrays. You can do something like this, arr or dot length, okay. So this is an attribute, okay, attribute or property, you can call it property, okay. So this will basically tell the size of the array. So this is one more thing I would like to add before I complete today's class, okay. So yeah, array size is fixed, okay. The values 20th June, I'll try my level best, Bharat, because I'll be having my job from 13th June, right? So so it'll be so let's see, because I'll try my level best to be your teacher, okay. I will be, I guess, right, mostly. Okay. So in this way, you can write for float, you can write for double, right? Similar to that, right? Char, can write for char, right? Can write for string, right? Byte, anything, it's fine, it's possible. Okay. So that's about arrays. That's about references. Okay. So as I'm saying again and again, without this statement, nothing is there. If you just simply think, if I declare something like this, it is done. No, it is not done. You're just created a reference variable. This is called, I'm strictly saying again and again, this is a reference variable. This is not like the primitive data type. You can directly use it. No, you can't. You need to allocate the memory, right? This is the most important concept, right? And that memory's address is stored here. Okay. Cool. That's the most important thing. This is just a reference variable. And without allocating, without memory allocation, it's nothing. Memory allocation, it's nothing. Okay. Guys, is this cool? So I think I showed how to print, right? So you can take it here or you can take it here. Anyway, you can print it in this way. Okay. Printing the array, right? Taking the input, user input, right? And this is manual input. User input. No, you can't use Siddesh, that's a really good question which you asked. So he's asking if the entries are not defined. Okay. So what will you do? We can't use an array. Okay. So the thing you can use is key you can create. So Siddesh, you can do a thing. You can assume key this would be the maximum number of entries, like 10,000 or 20,000 or 1 lakh. Okay. And you can use that array and you can only access whatever the arrays are. Okay. That's one of the way you can do it. Or else for that, there's another solution. There's another data structure which you will be learning in the class. And this is exactly the disadvantage of array. Okay. So we'll discuss that. Okay. And Deepesh can you explain again, sir, please, this array which is on the black screen? Okay. Which array, bro? Which array exactly, Deepansh? Don't spam. No, Precourse won't continue. I think it will continue till 10th June and then it will stop. Okay. And then I'll start my job and then you guys will be writing your test and the final selects from them. 20 say you'll be. Is data array size depend on the data type? Just think about it. think about it. What do you think the size and the number of entries will that change? So try to think and get me a logical explanation. I'll tell the answer for you tomorrow. Okay. Chalo. I think we can end the class for today, guys. Right? Recording, it will be present in the Discord channel, man. I'm not sure what's going in the Discord channel, right? So it should be present in the Discord channel. Chalo, guys. I think we can end. Good night. Okay. It will be clear after mine too. Bro, the salary, let me tell you, okay, if at all you're going into a product-based company, good product-based company, 1 lakh to minimum. Okay, 1 lakh is something that is the industry standard right now. Okay, 1 lakh per month. Okay, so mine is definitely more than that. Okay, but I'm just telling about any general company. Okay, any general company, right? The thing is, you can define the size, you can define the data type, you can there's something called arr.length which will be telling the size of the array, right? And this is the reference variables, and these are the things which I wanted to tell and I told, right? Okay, so I've joined Amazon. Okay, Amazon average salary, like average salary in the sense ki the salary which every fresher is getting these days, okay, as a software developer, that is one lakh. Like 1 lakh is the minimum according to me, right? 1 lakh is minimum. For HD, I'm an HD software development engineer at Amazon, right? Right. Amazon will definitely give more than 1 lakh. Okay? So close to 2 lakhs, not close to 2 lakhs. Okay? But I'm just telling the industry standard. Okay? So don't think about getting a high CTC. Okay? If at all, if at all a company is promising you 12 base, then according to me, it's a good opportunity. Okay? LinkedIn, you can search it in the LinkedIn, man. But Rati kya Acciojob? Like Amazon, you need to like apply it on the careers page, man, in the off campus. Okay. No, Java is sufficient, bro. Like anything could be learned later when you become an ST. Okay. Amazon will be giving you, like any company will be giving you time. Okay. Don't worry. Okay, guys. So let's end the class for today. Okay. It's great. I will discuss a lot of things tomorrow. Okay. My salary is 12 LPA मतलब 12 मिलेगा ना salary मतलब वही होता है ना base CTC मतलब CTC is a really inflated thing. Okay, CTC includes lot of things like your joining bonus, your stock allowances, right? uh, all these things, joining bonuses, right? Okay, so you need to create your own resume, bro. Okay, how to prepare. So don't prepare, just listen to my lectures and do the assignments. That's sufficient, Bhuneshwar. Okay. CP is important for yourself. Okay, CP is something which will develop your mind to think in a very better manner. Okay, so we'll discuss CTC LPA tomorrow. Okay? So I'll be teaching in the main batch as well. Don't worry, because right now I'm going in a work from home mode, right? So I'll be teaching in the main batch as well. But so I'll let you know. Don't worry. So I'll be mostly teaching 99%. Okay, good night, everyone. CP is competitive programming. Chalo. Great. What on average CTC कितना काटता है? Like average salary is 12 LPA. Yeah, average salary is average. I'm talking about the base. Okay, we'll talk about the components of the salary tomorrow. Is that fine? So most of the people left. Okay. Yeah, sure, Akshay. Just send me a request. I'm closing the meet. Good night.